Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. It is Denise Salcedo once again back here on the YouTube channel, and I've got another interview for you here today. And this is a big one, ladies and gents, because for you, we have the Impact World Champion, Steve Maclin. Steve, welcome. It's so nice to have you on here.
No, thanks for having me. It's always good talking to you.
Yeah, it's been really cool getting to see everything that you have been able to do in Impact Wrestling, and even more so right now as the Impact Champion. I kind of want to kick things off, right then and there. It's been a couple of months since April now that you've been champ, two title defenses. How does it feel to be the champion?
It's awesome. I've been saying it in every interview to win it the night in Toronto, especially the night my wife and I both won the world titles. It's just cool to come out of that and share that moment together. And it's cool. It's a cool feeling. It's still surreal to be the little kid in me, and you get to I don't know, you get to be the world champ. You always imagine to be the world champ as a kid, and you always put yourself in that position. And I'm lucky enough I've gotten the opportunity, and I get to keep taking that opportunity and running with it.
And you mentioned obviously your wife, Deanna Perrazzo, and it's one of those things that like, how cool is it to like when you're not backstage, when you're not in wrestling, when you're just at home, it's like, hey, you're the champ. I'm the champ too. What's that like?
I don't think we really kind of have those moments other than just kind of talking about like it's not much so much like, oh, you're a champion, I'm a champion. This is awesome. It's like no, it's like we put more pressure on ourselves where we kind of try to up our game. And she's always in her mind with gear ideas and themes and match types and just certain move sets and like taking things from certain matches she's seen prior and like how can it work with this person. And I do the same thing. I'm trying to slow down my gear making and just evolve my jackets just because as a guy, it's just I'm not so much the color scheme she is, and especially being a bad guy, you don't want to go bright colors so much. They don't. She's more the virtuosa in that sense. So it's fun to just be able to bounce ideas creatively, and it's awesome. She's
Man,
the
well,
best. She's the
I was
best.
I was gonna say I love Dion. Anytime I get to have her on here on the show, it's always like she's just doing so much. It's incredible to see everything she's done. It's incredible to see what you have done. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this reign. You're taught, getting to hold the championship belt. How does that change somebody? How does that change you as a performer? Where it's like before you had the belt to now carrying it. How does your mindset change?
Just to kind of know that I'm the flag bearer and like whether it's deemed on me or not or said to me as nobody said it to me. It's just like it's just something you take on. I think as a champion, lead by example, and you go out there. And I want to have the best match possible, whether it steals the show or not. I want to go out there and give the fans their money's worth. I want to set the tone for what the world title should be, and my eyes of how you should defend it and fight for it. And I think PCO and I did that at Under Siege of showing what the world title means in Impact Wrestling. And I think the world kind of got to see that, and it created a little bit more buzz on that as well, which is kind of nice to see. The more eyes are getting on Impact Wrestling, and that's what we want as a locker room in general. We have the best professional wrestling show out there, I feel, and I know our locker room could attest to that as well, where we just put a lot of weight on our shoulders for that, and we want Impact Wrestling to keep growing the way it is, and that's kind of the weight I put on my shoulders is to make Impact Wrestling better than what it was before I got here.
Well, here's the thing, and kudos to you because already within the second title defense against PCO, you did have people talking about this match. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere on Twitter and not see people saying, like, oh my God, this match at Under Siege, this match at Under Siege. The amount of times that I saw your face with the crimson mask face. And I watched the match, by the way, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, like there was so much that you guys did in there. And we've had PCO here on the show, and obviously he's not human and all of this, but everything that you guys did in there with the stapling, when you stapled his mouth shut, all of the chair shots, the cinder blocks. I mean, I can see the gash on your head right now
Yeah,
during this interview.
I got the stitches out the other night, so it's get ready against all odds with Alex Shelley. So
It's crazy. I want to talk about that match because I want to get inside your mind when a lot of people are going out and saying this is one of the most violent matches they have seen, period. Not just in Impact Wrestling, but just period. For you, what was your mindset heading into the match and how did you feel coming out of it?
to know it was no DQ and to know who my opponent is as PCO of being the perfect creation and the walking, living embodiment of Frankenstein, the crazy Frenchman that he is. I knew we were going to go out and try to do something different that people haven't seen in a long time. And I can relate it almost kind of to like Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, or Mankind at Mind Games in '96, like where that was like one of those matches that just like, holy crap, this evolved both talents. So this is a way to showcase the best that he is and the best that I am and my adaptability as well. Because I feel I can get in the ring and I can work with anyone now. And that's one of those things where whatever situation you put me into, I'm going to take that opportunity. I'm going to try to knock it out of the park. And I think I've been trying to do that. And I think we did that on Under Siege with PCO and I. And then also with Frank Gastineau in the match. And then also just the crowd in general in London, Ontario, like everything added into it with all the help that we had going into it.
Was there anything that you were maybe sort of apprehensive about doing in the match, or were you just like, I don't care, we're just gonna go all crazy and do whatever the hell we want? Because I know that PCO has some wild ideas, and he's mentioned here before that there's been times where he's been told, maybe don't go out there and do that.
We were told a few of those, but it's just one of those things where he and I just we had enough trust in each other. We've worked before, and it was just one of those things where we just wanted to just make it the best match possible, whether it stole the show or not. And the card up and down, just I thought the pay per view as a whole was just strong as anything from start to finish. And that was one of those things where it was the only match that had any type of stipulation to it or any type of weapons used, and it really built to it for the card, and it was just a car crash of just mayhem. And I tell mayhem for all. It really was mayhem for all. So, God, I'm just proud of it. So it's just one of those ones you walk away with. All right, cool. Don't have to do that for a while.
So I was gonna say, yeah, for a while, right? What would you say was the craziest thing that you guys did in that match where even you were like, I can't believe I'm about to do this right now?
Staple gun was just one of those things where just okay, a lot of staple gun.
Damn, no, it was
It's crazy.
sick.
Someone you would think the cinder block and sledgehammer, but no, it's staple gun. Just skeeves me out.
Well, yeah, even seeing like PCO, like kind of like you're seeing his lip, he's pulling his lip at one point, and I'm going like, you're just cringing watching it happen. And so that was like, crazy. But physically speaking, how'd you feel after the match? I know you had the big gash. I saw that, you were literally like your skin was like folded. We're seeing it right now. Physically, how are you feeling?
There was a point in the match where I went and wiped my forehead a little bit, which I shouldn't have done anyway, but I did it anyway. And the big, like, it looked like just like a big loogie, like, but of skin on my hand. And I was just like, ugh. And I just watched it hit the mat. It even made a splat sound. I was like, oh, that was gross. But all right, this is pretty cool.
Oh my God. You're like, that came out of me.
It was just a big blob of skin, but it was pretty cool to have that. Physically, I was a little beat up I'm still feeling the effects. I know PCO probably is as well. But it was nice and enjoyable to spend my birthday in an ER in London, Ontario, my wife and I. And luckily, Ross Foreman brought us dinner while we were waiting there till 5 a.m. to get stitches in my head.
Oh, God. But you know what? Here's the thing, though. You have a story that not a lot of people can say that that's how they have spent a birthday. That's freaking cool, man. And honestly, like you and PCO and everybody involved in that, putting that together, it should be really happy because I really do think that that match got so much buzz that, it already kind of set a tone for, what we might be able to expect from your reign because you have had, some of these wild brawls before. You mentioned the one with PCO, but you've also had the one with Sammy Callahan and Rich Swann and Moose. And so you've now had this like string of wild brawls. When you think about some of the other ones besides the PCO one, what would you say are some of like your favorite moments, favorite memories from those?
The Barbed Wire Massacre was a lot of fun with Sammy and Moose. It was just different. Could I have changed a little bit of things here and there for production wise of showing everything? Yes, but that's just one of those things I would have changed now. Then I enjoyed it very much. I watched back. Myself and Trey Miguel for the X Division title, Hard to Kill. That was one of my favorite matches. Beating Jay White and Chris Sabin on the same night at Rebellion 2 years ago. That was one of my favorites as well because both those talents to come out of that. And I think that's what steamrolled my way to the Impact World title and kind of put my name out there more by beating those two. And then now I have Alex Shelley at Against All Odds. So now I get to show my body of work as well. And again, I said, tweeted, and I've put it on my Instagram of that I'm ruthlessly adaptable, and I'm proving that.
I think so too, because that was one of the things that I was going to bring up is that I feel like you have not been pigeonholed where it's like, yeah, you're doing these wild brawls and this and that, right? But at the same time, you mentioned competition with Trey Miguel. You got your, matches with Eddie Edwards and Chris Sabin and all of these different people that bring these different styles. So for you as a performer, as a wrestler, what does it mean to not have to be pigeonholed?
I just get to adapt to every situation that I'm put in. I get to show people what my worth is and what I felt I was from years ago, where I was asking for opportunity and never given it. But that's what just led me to these moments where I believe in myself more confident in my own work. And now I get to go out against Alex Shelley, who's been doing this for 20 plus years. He's one of the best in the world. He's a generational molding talent, technically. So many people have taken from him and Chris Sabin in the tag division, and as well as singles wrestlers. And it's just something where he and I have a history from our time in NXT when he came in, and him and Kushida were tagging together as the time splitters there. And it's fun to have that relationship build now to Impact and work together and travel the roads together on some of the independents we see each other at. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a cool feeling because it's just a locker room that's so like tight knit, but also everybody sees each other on indie shows on the weekend as well, which is kind of cool. Oh, I just saw you last week at TV. Why am I saying hello again? It's like I feel like I see you more than my wife now. But it's just one of those things where, God, I'm very much looking forward against all odds because it's not a long build, but it is a long build to me. Not for the fans. It's a 3-week, 4-week build pretty much, but for me, it's a long time because we have worked in the past, and it's someone I'm looking forward to sharing the ring with. And but it does suck that again he's going to drop the ball and not winning the world title. Sorry to tell everybody that at Against All Odds in Columbus. So if you are there, sorry.
Well, you're going in confident, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
If you're
And
not going in confident, what are you like? Why wouldn't you? Why would I go into a match with a mindset of losing? I don't think anybody would.
exactly.
And if I do lose, I learn from it. So that's one of those things where I'll worry about that later.
And I also want to ask you about, Bully Ray, because there's kind of an interesting dynamic going on between you and Bully on Impact Wrestling. I do want to ask you what your experience has been like, working with him, and obviously somebody who has done so much in pro wrestling, and to be able to, just work together in Impact.
It's awesome. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best tag team wrestlers out there. Obviously, you know him from him and the Dudleys. So it's good to have him there because he's another voice to have that's been around for so long. And he's honest. A lot of people take it as blunt honesty, but or take it negatively. I love blunt honesty. I'm from New Jersey, so I'm very just be please open and honest as possible. Even like the other day, he came up to me. He's like, how do you want this? I was like, just talk, just talk to me. And again, like I said this past week on television, of the what if Bully Ray and I tagged, like what we just did to Scott Moore at Under Siege, what we can do to the rest of Impact roster. And that's the big what if, but then also the what if of him winning the number one contenders match at Against All Odds. What if he wins there and we do go on a Slammiversary after I beat Alex Shelley and it is Bully and I? Well, then I just beat another Hall of Famer, another former world champion. And that's one of those things of the what if. But again, what if Bully and I did team up? And that's something hopefully we can get answer at some point soon.
I did love that promo that you guys did with you, Bully, and Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley on Impact. Oh man, I thought that was so good. There was just some really great back and forth between all of you guys. I thought that kind of got me excited for multiple things that can be happening, like you said, in the future at Impact Wrestling, including your match with Alex Shelley. So that was definitely something that got me pretty hyped. Now, here's the thing too that I want to touch on, because prior to you, the Impact champion was Josh Alexander, and unfortunately, due to injury, things just he wasn't able to, close out his reign the way that he would like to. And Josh Alexander has, broken his own records in Impact Wrestling. He has had some phenomenal matches, and he's literally been up there, I would say, with one of the best wrestlers in the world, period, with this reign as Impact champion. So you following that, does that put any pressure on you? Or are you just like, what's the emotion behind that?
No pressure at all from that. I know it's everybody says it. Josh only vacated the title. I didn't beat him for it. That is something I wanted at Rebellion originally, was to beat the longest reigning Impact World Champion in his hometown in Toronto at Rebellion for the world title. And things happen. But that's Josh. I can control what I can only control. So what I worry about is whatever my next match or my next opponent's going to be. I have my body of work. He has his body of work. I'm going to leave my version of a lasting legacy. He'll leave his version of a lasting legacy. That's what anybody does in wrestling. I think if you start worrying about other people, then that's when you have your problems of yourself, and that's where you lose your own self confidence. For me, I worry about me. But when the time comes and he is healthy, I am looking forward to that match. If I am still world champion at the time he does come back, that is the matchup that I do want, and I know a lot of people want. But I also think injuries happen sometimes, and we hate it at the moment. But it also helps for the long run. So it also helped to the story that we're going to tell down the road, hopefully, which I'm again looking forward to. But as well, I'm very much focused on Alex Shelley right now at Against All Odds because again, he's my next opponent, and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. So that's what I'm worried about right now.
Alrighty. And I do got one last question for you. And this is kind of like a two-part question. And that is first and foremost, I want to get your goals as a champion. Like what's the legacy that you want to leave behind when people say, oh, do you remember Steve Maclin as Impact champion? Cool. Why do you remember? What is that legacy you want to leave? And then the second part of that was just pretty much your goals overall in pro wrestling.
Goals overall, I'll start with that one. Is just getting to travel the world more. I want to come. I want to go over to the UK. We're going to Australia, which is awesome. We have that coming up at the end of June into July. Just traveling the world's great. I love wrestling. Different crowds. You're just getting the different vibes. And the UK crowds overseas are it's insane with the way they are, especially with the Impact Wrestling following they are over there, following on DAZN. And then also for just what I want to leave as a lasting legacy is just to play on words of not being forgotten. People will remember my name of Steve Maclin, whether I was a good world champion or not. I feel I'm living up to the billet of being the world champion. I'm going to try my best when I go out there. Whether you like me or not, I'm going to get the job done. And I'm going to go out there and try to have the best match possible. Whether I steal the show or not, I think people will be talking about it regardless.
Awesome. Steve Macklin, man, you're killing it. Thank you so much for hopping on here and doing this interview with me. I'm so excited to continue seeing the rest of, your time as Impact Champion. I'm so excited for that. To everyone watching, please do not forget to check out Against All Odds. I do have all of the information in the description box below. And until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. This is Steve Macklin. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks, Denise.